Says, hey doc, balancing pH. Any ideas on this one? So, pH is interesting because there's many different pHs in the body at any given time. The big one that matters the most is the blood pH. It's not moving. If that thing goes up or down, you're in trouble. You're not in my office. You're in a hospital fighting for life. So the normal pH of your blood is 7.4, right? Now pH, let's make it easy if you don't understand pH. Think like temperature, right? So 7 is room temperature, right? That's what water's supposed to be, right at room temperature. If you go below it, it gets warm. That's an acid. If you go above 7, it gets cooler. That's an alkalizer or a base, okay? So for our purposes, blood is 7.4. It's just slightly cooler than room temperature. Now your acids, your urine, a perfect one would be about 6.6, a little lukewarm. And if you add 6.6 and 7.4 together, they equal 14, which is what the pH scale is based on. It's kind of a 0 to 14 scale. So knowing that, you think, well, what's stomach acid supposed to be? About 2.8, 2.5, somewhere in there. So the more you lower this thing, the more concentrated it gets, the stronger the acid, the hotter. The higher you go, Drano, for example, I think is a pH of around 11.
Ooh.
So it's nasty, which is why it eats hair and clogs and stuff like that. So the either end of this thing is just as harmful to the body. So you have to have, if you're going to keep your blood at 7.4 all the time, you got to be careful what you bring in. Because if you go bringing in bunches of alkalizers, like alkaline water and alkaline this and alkaline that, you'll raise the 7.4. But the body's, look, I can't, or you're in a hospital. And I mean, if it goes 7.45, you're in an ER, right, trying to fight for your life.
Wow.
So it cannot move. So think about your thermostat at home, right? And think, how much does that thing move all day long, trying to keep the temperature the same? Your body's super specific. So in order to keep the blood constant, it has to move other pHs. Saliva, urine, things where else would you see different pHs out in the body? It's stomach acid. It's going to change these around in an effort to keep the blood constant. So when I do the IUP, for example, it's measuring the pH you're spilling off in the urine. And if your urine pH is really, really acid, it says, oh, I've got a lot of acidity in the body. I'm dumping it off, trying to keep the blood constant, trying to maintain what we call homeostasis. If for some reason it's alkaline, I go, ooh, it's trying to throw that stuff out as fast as it can get it out because it's trying to keep the blood constant. So one of the ideas of this thing is to look at your foods and figure out, well, which foods raise it and which foods lower it, right? So proteins and grains, sugars, always acidify the body. They lower it. But your vegetables, a lot of your fruits, your root vegetables especially, tend to alkalize it and bring it up. So you can balance it by just looking at your diet. And if you notice, well, I'm a little more acidic than I want, I'll bring in more alkaline things into my diet. Doc, I don't like vegetables. All right, take a product that gets around it. One of the ones I use in practice is something called Veridance. I like it a lot. A scoop of that thing in the morning, it helps to balance pH. I also have an alfalfa plant that I use a lot that balances pH. I take it every day, right? It's just keeping it neutral is what you're after. So it's a really, really good question. I hope that helps answer things. But be careful, guys, because like, for example, digestion, it has to be highly acidic. Calcium, if you don't have a super acid environment, you're not absorbing it. So I'm taking 9,000 milligrams of calcium every day, and I'm on an antacid. Good luck. Good luck. Keep taking it. Yep. It's not getting in. That door is closed, right? So there's a lot to balancing the body. And that's why I always try to do things with nutrition. I try to do things with food instead of pills if I can, right?